Now my hairi mai, Céad Míle Fáilte, to Cora Correro in conversation with Eddie Condra. So Eddie, using your book, Remapping Our Souls, as a guide, we'll explore some of the concepts. You quote Kierkegaard in Remapping Our Souls. The question, does God exist, is not as important as my relationship to it, meaning to the question.
Yeah.
Please tell us more.
That's enormous. So the question, does God exist, is not as important as my relationship to the question. Sometimes we get tangled up in thinking that's about question, does God whether God exists or not. No, I want to say the key to this is your relationship to that question. If, for instance, the existence of God is important, now the question is important. If you're not interested in the existence of God, the question is not important. So we put it into ordinary life. The question, say, it's raining in Perth at the moment. That statement is not as important as my relationship to the statement. So if your cousin has just gone over to Perth and you realize, oh my God, it's raining, they'll have a rubbishy holiday, say, oh. But it's your relationship to that statement. And everything has to do with our relationship to it. Every single thing. So sitting here is not as important as your relationship to that. What is the significance of sitting here? What relevance does it have? The COVID thing is another one, is not as important as my relationship to it. How does it affect me? How do I connect with it? How does it impact on me? So the Kierkegaard drives us right in to looking at the relationship. And we can say it with every single event. The traffic light turned red all of a sudden is not as important as my relationship to that. Like if I'm anxious and have to be at work, now the red light takes on huge significance. The person who cuts across you in the traffic, again, it's my relationship to that. So if I'm thinking, what an ignorant driver, what a terrible person that is, On the other hand, oh my God, I hope they're not having a heart attack until they swerved across. It's again my relationship to it. That's huge. That's central to everything. My relationship to this. How do I see it? How do I understand it? And when you're answering those questions, you're answering your question of the shape of your spirituality. How do I understand? How do I see it? How do I relate to it? How am I connected to it? And it's with everything. It goes for your body, your health, every single thing, every single event. It's your relationship to it. How am I connecting with this? What significance does it have for me? What relevance does it have?
You've written that the real value in Kierkegaard's statement lies in its ability to drive us inwards. Do you feel you've answered that question? Do you want to say more?
I think so. It's the same thing. It's about, we use the example of the traffic light goes red, and you say, oh, bugger it, What's your relationship to this? And your relationship will be exposed by your disposition. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm nervous, because I'm in a rush. And that's what you just need to slow down. Pay attention to that. Yeah. It's all the time, it drives you. And we're not that good in the church. We're tearing around the place looking for new gurus, new insights, new wisdom, new ways of looking at life. When I'm saying, actually, we just need to stop and pay attention to the experience.
Taking another quote from, this time from William James, which is in Remapping Our Souls. It says, the greatest revolution in our generation is the discovery that human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of our minds, can change the outer aspects of our lives. And you state, in Remapping Our Souls, that more correctly, the revolution is a rediscovery. Yeah. How does this relate to conversion in Christianity?
Well, yeah. So the William James one is about the discovery, of, which is like a new insight. Now, and it illustrates in part, hopefully, what I've been talking about. It comes from the secular world, in inverted commas. Okay. Christianity, our story begins with conversion, which is a word that belongs in religion. Rarely have I heard the word conversion used outside of religious context. Occasionally you hear about a car. Somebody, converted a car. When I first heard that, I thought, oh my God, how do you do that? Like, it's a Catholic car, now it's converted into a Protestant car, or a Protestant car converted into a Catholic car. But this idea of conversion is locked or shoved in religion. Conversion is about change. At the core, the word I would like to use in everyday language is, let's talk about change. And any change, changing your clothes, changing your mind, changing anything, involves some inner movement. So what I'm saying is that what William James is talking about in inverted commas secular language is what we talked about in religion. That actually we need to change. Now, what we've done with the word conversion is we've kind of turned it, you're very, very naughty, you're very bad, stop, believe in God and go back to church, and now you're converted. I say, no, conversion is about changing this inner world of ours. And if you change this inner world of yours, you begin to see things differently. It's and that this is the reason I say it's not so much a new discovery as a restatement of the old order. That's how life is, by the way. I mean, you don't have to be religious to believe in that. All you got to do is stop and think. There's nobody in this world who hasn't been converted. Like the person who loves rugby league and then they see rugby union and say, oh yeah, and now they're converted. They've changed. They changed their attitudes, or they've changed their, loyalties to a particular rugby team. Any change in diet, any change is a conversion. Some are more radical than others. Like, people who live together for 5 or 10 years and then find they can't live, that's a conversion. They now decide they're going to change. So the inner world also is involved in that change.